So it comes in a very small little box, very easy to handle, and not much problems with carrying it or anything like that. Inside the box, we'll find, first of all, is the controller, wrapped up in a little bit of plastic, and we'll open that up in a minute. Then there's the handle with a bit of an armrest, and I presume the controller just fits on there. Put that aside. There's the warranty, Aldi warranty, and a user manual. This is the GC1032. Now, I've looked on Chinese websites, but I can't find anything that resembles this detector, so I'm assuming it's a different detector from some of those that are offered, like on AliExpress or something like that. There's an extension cord piece here with a little bit of a clamp, and this is the main section. Alright, we thought we'd start off first with putting the coil on to the end of the shaft, and it's quite simple, just a little screw, and I think that just fits through there onto the coil. It's good. Okay, so what you've got is two washers. These washers fit into a little groove on the sides of the shaft, and then that fits into the middle of the coil quite snugly. You then push the bolt through the center, just lining it up like that, and you fasten it up, and that way it holds the coil at the angle that you set, and you don't have to have a coil that's flopping around. It holds it nice and firm. So you just got to tighten it up, just sort of finger tight, and you'll see the coil is now being nicely firmly held. Fitting into that is the next piece, a little bit of a clamp, and you've got a number of holes along here to adjust the height, and you just tighten that up. Then onto the end of that you stick this piece, and you've now got the complete unit, other than the control box, which simply, and the control box, by the way, has got a little bit of a plastic cover to protect the screen, and this has also got a headphone jack. We'll find out what all the controls are about. It's on and off and volume, but I'm assuming that this just fits on to here in some form like that, and then we just screw that screw back in to hold it. So it's pretty simple to put together, not a lot involved in that. And there we have the complete detector. Okay, we've just taken the coil and we've wound it a number of times around, and underneath the detector box, control box, you'll find the plug. Just plugs in quite simply underneath there, just over there, and we should be ready to go. Okay, When you turn the detector on, it goes into a default state, and there are a couple of buttons here. So first of all, there's a little headphone jack. Then there's a plus and a minus setting, and there is a notch, and the notch is used for these settings. So you've got iron, you've got a 5-cent piece that shows you there, a pull tab, a zinc, and a 1 cent and a 25-cent little notch. So when you turn on the notch, it highlights those. You can turn them off. So if you want to discriminate against iron, for instance, you would turn that off. Now I've turned that back on. By pressing the plus or the minus, you move across, and you can turn off any of those notches. So it does have a little bit of discrimination, which is pretty good. In addition to that, there's a sensitivity button, and using the pluses and the minuses, you can change the sensitivity. These buttons don't always work exactly first time. Sometimes you have to press them a little bit more. There it's going now, and that's full sensitivity, and that takes you down to a negative sensitivity as well, or a lower sensitivity. There's a volume control, and then there's the discriminator. Now the discriminator allows you between 0 and 80 to turn off any of the numbers that you might want to turn off. So for instance, as I start turning these off, as I start turning the discrimination off, you'll see the notches are going off as we go up on the numbers. So there, 31, the pull tab's just gone off. So that's how it pretty much works, and that's to just turn it all back on. And now what I've done is I've set up a number of targets. I'll just go through those with you. Okay, I just wanted to show you, we've got the target area all set up. There are no targets on it at the moment. We've turned on the Aldi metal detector, and I just wanted to show you, as I scan across it, that there's no targets there. I'm right on the bottom, and nothing's coming up. Completely dead. Okay, we're just going to scan over this with the Equinox without any targets on it, just to show you that it's all completely clear. There's nothing there, nothing at all. I've set up a 4-gram gold nugget, a little gold like locket, a hot rock, because you get a lot of those out in the areas where I go detecting for gold. We've got a 50-cent piece, a $2, an old penny that I found. Lots of these we find, bullets, an old brass button, and a metal iron keyring. Those are the targets that we're going to be having a look at and seeing how this little detector works with those. Okay, I've got the detector set up in default mode, and it is also highest sensitivity. And what we're going to be going over is all of these different targets, just to see what numbers come up and what sort of response it has. The first one that we're going to go over is the 4-gram gold nugget. Now you'll notice that's coming up with a couple of different numbers, but it is responding, and we're probably about 8 inches is where it fades out. The next one is the little gold nugget. Again, responding pretty much like the gold pendant, and this is responding pretty much the same as the gold nugget, also changing numbers every now and then. Now the hot rock Absolutely no response at all. Nothing at all. Okay, we're now going to go over the penny. And this is obviously a very good detector for coins, because we're probably about 10 inches above. And it's responding nicely to the penny. The $2 coin actually has a better response, a much better response than the penny, and we're probably about close on, I would say, a foot above at the moment. If we go down, it really responds well there. 50-cent piece, same sort of thing. Now, going over this piece of iron, just wanted to point out, this is picking up and it's showing up as an iron target, which is very good because it's discriminating nicely on that. The brass button, and the bullet. Funnily enough, I tend to get the best target response when I'm right close on the joining point where the shaft joins the coil, not in the middle of the coil or on the front of the coil. So, there we go. Gold coming up. Numbers jump around a bit. The gold pendant. Hot rock, nothing. 50 cents. $2. Penny. Bullet. Brass button. Has a great response. And the iron keyring. To test the discrimination on this little Aldi detector, I put a silver ring and a pull tab onto the same mat, and we'll check those out now. And so at this point in time, if I go over the little metal ring, the silver metal ring, that's registering, and if I go over the pull tab, that's registering as well. Now if I use the notch and we move it across to the pull tab and we switch that off, on the metal ring, on the silver ring, still registering. But across the pull tab, nothing. So we turn that notch back on the pull tab. And so for a $100 detector, the discriminator works, which is quite impressive. Now I thought, just for interest's sake, we would take our Equinox 800, with a little 6-inch coil, and we'd make a comparison as to what you see with this one. Now I'm just going to go over the hot rock. Picking it up. Now the gold locket. I also have a lot more height that I can get to with this, or depth. The gold nugget. The penny. The $2, a lot more stable, the 50-cent piece, the iron keyring, the brass button, and the bullet. Now that's the difference between a $1,000 detector and a $100 detector.